Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. No more introductions need to be served here. Caitlin Clark, all everything Iowa Hawkeye women's basketball player. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Truly my pleasure. Wow, so much to go. I have to ask, you heard one of the questions, but let me give you your coach's response. So do you yourself say, when you shoot a 35, 40-footer, the logo 3 as you're smiling, do you even yourself say to yourself, no, yes, okay. Coach said yes, she does say that. Monica said yes, she does say that. Do you say that yourself?
Yeah, I think there's times where I definitely do say that. I'm pretty confident. I think especially when I've hit like one or two, maybe a little closer, and I kind of get a heat check here and there. I'm lucky I have a coach that lets me do it.
Yeah.
And obviously Coach Blitter's a very offensive-minded coach. That's one of the reasons I came here. I love playing for her. But yeah, the fans love it, so I got to give them a little something to cheer about. But it's nice to see it go down and everybody go crazy. That's some of the loudest times Carver has had. And it's pretty exciting and fun for us.
I love watching you exhort them too, and you give them this little number. Sometimes you're more subtle. It's a little this, and oh, I shouldn't do it. Give me a little of that. Give us some fun for the camera. There it is, right there.
They respond pretty well to it too. So
yeah, they're ready for you.
Gotta give them a lot of credit for that.
Okay, I got to give you one more bit of hard time here. Are you becoming Dick Vitale? You did the interview after the Iowa State game. You know where I'm going. Iowa, the state of Iowa, is the place for women's basketball, baby, and you threw another baby in there. So did Dick Vitale call and say he wanted royalties? You got a little excited.
I love Dickie V. He's awesome, and he's been on the call for quite some time. And I grew up a huge basketball fan, men's and women's. Like I would always have the TV on, and he was always on the huge games. So growing up, I was a huge North Carolina fan actually when they had Harrison Barnes.
Oh, so, there you go. Okay.
I had his jersey and everything, and he was on a lot of those games. So. After you beat Iowa State, you're obviously super jacked up, so that didn't help the situation. But we were just excited to beat them. But a lot of people say I should go into sports broadcasting after I'm done with basketball. So we'll see. Maybe. I mean, obviously, I hope to have a long professional career, but. That could be something I do in the future.
We'll talk. I'd love to, we'll get something going here and talk some basketball. I would love to do it. But I'll tell you this, I loved it. That's what I was driving. I had to joke with you a little bit, but I loved it. And Dick Vitale does great work. We work with Fight with Flash Foundation here every week. We have Craig and Stacey Schrader joining us, obviously not this week, but and they're very close to Dick Vitale, and you're exactly right. I mean, I think what I was driving at was the passion.
Yeah.
To see you get swept up in an interview and the all-star, all everything you are, to see you come off and talk to the two broadcasters, and they were women, and they were very excited, and it was just really cool to see you get swept up.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of who I am. I'm super passionate about what I do. I absolutely love it. That's the reason I do it. I've loved it since I'm very young. And I think people can see that even when I play. Like, I just play with so much passion and emotion, and I think people really realize the women's game can be fun. They can be passionate. And that's what I want to be an example for young girls and even young boys, that they can play with that too. So, I think that's the reason people love coming to watch our team too, is because they see how much fun we have. We play with smile. We play with joy. And that's what brings them back to Carver every single night.
You had 11 college athletes in your family. Of course, well documented. You didn't apparently get to work on your older brother, who's an Iowa State Cyclone quarterback, Blake. But any trash talking amongst family members there? Iowa State won the football game this year, but you guys won the women's basketball game.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with my brother is, no matter what, we're each other's biggest fans. And, he's actually done now. This was his 5th year. Graduated with his master's in industrial engineering. So I think it's just really cool the way he carries himself. He's always been my biggest fan, no matter, he made that very clear during the recruiting process. No matter where you go to Iowa State, you go to Notre Dame, you go to Iowa, I'm still going to be your biggest fan no matter what.
Great.
It was the same for me. I still go to his football games, and it's kind of cool, the dynamic between the both of us. I think my parents probably own the most Iowa and Iowa State gear out of anybody in our state.
A household divided,
literally.
yes.
And it's kind of funny because we grew up and we weren't really true Iowa or true Iowa State fans, so it's kind of funny how it worked out. One at each, and I have a younger brother too who's still deciding where he's going to go to college. He's a senior at Dowling right now, so it's just been cool. It's been fun to really support each other, and he's been able to get to more of my games this year because Iowa State obviously didn't make a bowl game, but now that he's done, he can come to more of my stuff and heckle the refs and stuff and yell. He's probably about the loudest one in the gym.
And I'm not getting lazier as we talk here, viewers. I could go through all of Caitlin's accolades, but when I just say the all everything, it's a catch-all. Player of the Year nominee, and still for everybody else's money, should have had it last year, but I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get political with anybody, but There's so many accolades. Is it official yet? I'll check with Bailey about this after the show. Have they officially renamed the Big Ten Player of the Week award the Caitlin Clark Award? Or are we not there yet? We're close.
We're not there yet.
We're close. We're close. I mean, my goodness, you're close to setting that record. I mean, all these obscure records, and it's like, so that's why I'm just going to say, if you're okay with this, I'm not getting lazy, but everything Caitlin Clark. Does that work?
I appreciate that.
You've earned it.
I got a lot of ways to go still, so.
Let me say that then, and you just keep working
fair enough.
for it.
We'll go with that.
Let's run to our first break. I think I actually made her blush, so I'll let you, I'm joking with Caitlin Clark, everything from University of Iowa women's basketball, and Dave O'Hara with Hawkeyed. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.
To have a strong finish, you need an excellent start. It's true on the track and also in the field. That's why Mershman Seeds works tirelessly to deliver cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. I'll make this real easy transition. There she is. Caitlin Clark, do everything, everything, as I'm deeming it. She still wants to keep working hard, but award-winning Caitlin Clark, Iowa women's basketball. So Caitlin, those accolades, I joked with you about blushing, off camera as we're going to break. But is that hard for you to hear? Because, you got to know you're it. Does that get to you having guys like me or the rest of the world, just these adoring fans that to see at the game, but all us giving you these accolades? It's not like you don't deserve it. It's hard-earned, well-deserved. But is that an adjustment for you?
Yeah, I think definitely at first when it was an adjustment for me, and obviously my first year here, I wasn't around any of the Hawkeye fans, which was really, really strange and weird to think about. I played in front of cardboard cutouts, so I didn't really get to interact with the fans unless it was really on social media at the time. So, going into my sophomore year, it felt a little more real for myself. I was around the fans all the time. The stadium started to fill up because people could really come and watch us in person and, feel that energy. And sure. I think, everybody's really come to understand how exciting this team is and things like that. But, when I first got here, I never dreamed it would have gone like this. Obviously I believed we could make it to the Final Four, but I think everything that's come with that is just a side piece. But I think, overall my goal is for this team to be in a Final Four. That's when I'll be the happiest. But obviously, the accolades, the recognition, that's always a huge honor. I wouldn't say that it isn't, but I know at the same time it wouldn't be for all my teammates.
Sure.
Our amazing coaches, especially Monica, she makes me look really good. I think that post guard duo is super, super important to have. Coach Bluter always says the same thing, and I don't think she always gets the recognition she deserves at times. I don't think people realize how good she is on the block and how hard of a position that is to play. So, I'm lucky that she came back for an extra year.
Yeah.
I got to have her around for one more. And hopefully this is our year. That's our goal. Obviously, we stumbled a little at the end last year. We had a really, really big high, and then we kind of dropped off right when we didn't want to. But that's why March Madness is the best tournament in postseason history because there's the highs of the highs, but there's the lows of the lows, and you really don't want to be on the team on the lows.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. There's upsets. That's why people love it so much. That's why I loved it growing up.
Yeah.
I always had the TV on. I wanted to watch, but we're excited for this year, and we think we can really do some special stuff.
And I want to get there, as we talked about last year with the Big Ten championship, regular season, Big Ten tourney champs, big celebration. Lose a tough one to Creighton at home here in the second round, but hey, they're on scholarship too, as the old expression goes. That's a good team.
Yep.
They knew you guys well. But then we talk about this year, and you win the state championship. Coach and I were joking about that. She's like, I never got to get one as a player in high school, but I got the state championship beating Drake in overtime to the house that Lisa Bluter built, basically in the App Center, and you grew up around in Des Moines, and then you go to overtime and beat them, and then you beat Iowa State, relatively handily, and then Northern Iowa, same thing. That game could have gone off the rails your way if you make a few other shots.
Yeah.
That game gets out of control, but that being said, you still have the state championship. But so as I prefaced that, and we talked about your excitement in the interview after the Iowa State game, what was that like for you being recruited? You could go in, you truly could have gone anywhere. Why Iowa? Why Coach Bluter? Why Coach Jen? Why the whole thing?
Yeah, I think it was really challenging, obviously, just because I had so many options and so many coaches I could talk to or whatever. But I think my parents did a really good job of like keeping it very narrow for myself. You know, I took quite a few visits. I went to Oregon State. I went to Texas. I went to Notre Dame, and I think that helped me understand what I was looking for. You know, I kind of narrowed it down because of the fact that I knew I wanted to be close to home. I'm close with my family. I wanted to be able to get back for some of my brother's stuff. So that really kind of narrowed the circle down, and eventually it really only got down to Iowa State and Notre Dame. And then at the end, I would say Notre Dame and Iowa, just those two. And obviously the rich tradition of basketball, women's basketball at Notre Dame, you know, that's hard to deny. But at the same time, you know, I really liked the idea of going somewhere that hadn't been to the Final Four in a really long time. It's my home state. And, you know, Coach Bluter has proven that she's coached a lot of really great players, put them in a lot of places to be successful. She's a very offensive-minded coach. She sold me on the fact that, you know, Kathleen Doyle's leaving. She's going to the WNBA. We need a point guard to come in and step in. And obviously I wanted to earn it, but the position was there for the taking. So I was really appealed to that, you know, kind of pitch. And obviously now that I'm here, I know that I made the right decision. It's been more than I could have ever dreamed, and I've loved every single second of it.
Well, we love having you, but I think of Notre Dame, you know, Muffet McGraw was still there and recruiting you. How cool must that have been? I have to ask, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I had Margaret McCaffrey on the show last year, and you know where I'm going with this, and Connor and Patrick and Fran, and I'm sure they put in a good word for Iowa, but hey, let's not forget Margaret McCaffrey was a legend at Notre Dame, and she's at Iowa now with her husband and kids, but she didn't put any Notre Dame magic your way, did she?
No, not really. But, you know, obviously it was super cool getting recruited by Coach McGraw. And obviously she stepped away before I would have been there, which was kind of another dynamic I had to consider. But
did you know that going in that she might be leaving?
I knew there was a possibility, but I didn't really know until she didn't leave until after I was committed.
But did that deter? Would have that deterred you, or might have you changed your commitment?
I didn't think it would really deter what was happening. Obviously they had a great plan with Coach Ivy, who was coming back. She played there, was a great player.
Jaden Ivy's mom.
Yep, she was on staff there when I was getting recruited, was the guard coach, so I knew her very well too. But obviously getting recruited by one of the best coaches of all time, that's super cool, the tradition of Notre Dame's women's basketball. But, you know, I just loved Iowa. I loved the girls. Every time I came on a visit, I loved the coaches. You know, the way that people support women's basketball here is unreal. You know, I loved Carver, the environment. I remember coming for Megan's jersey retirement. The place was filled. It was so loud. Megan was sitting courtside, and I just thought that was like the coolest thing ever. So I have a lot of really good memories of coming here and watching the Hawks play. And I wanted to be a part of it at the end of the day. And I know I made a really good decision. It's been pretty fun since.
So let's talk about this year's team and moving forward. And we talked about, you know, tough losing to Creighton at home last year. And, you know, I always find it fascinating when the fans are as disappointed as you guys are. And I'm thinking, well, no, the players are more disappointed. But everybody had high expectations. And I talked about this with Monica, and I'm curious on your thoughts. And I think I know where you're going with this. But you can't let folks like me, the media, and fans take you down a path. But obviously that's pushing you, and I know you want to win the Big Ten regular season first, then the Big Ten tourney title, then, you know, we'll talk about March Madness, but that's got to be driving you this year.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think, you know, maybe last year we didn't have that little fire burning inside of us. You know, we made it to the Sweet 16 my freshman year, and really we weren't supposed to get there. We weren't even projected to make the field at the beginning of the season, so I think we surprised a lot of people. And then obviously had our ups and downs at the beginning of last year, but then really got on a roll, really found our rhythm. You know, we beat, like, I think 3 top 10 teams in 4 games, and then we win the regular season title, go to Indy, win the championship, and then we come here, the place is sold out, and we kind of just, you know, lay an egg. And, you know, that's what stinks. You have games like that where you just can't score the ball. I thought we played decent defense, and obviously Creighton, a team that is super, super familiar with us. We scrimmaged them before the year, and I honestly thought they didn't get enough credit for how good of a team they are, and I think people are seeing that this year. They've been ranked top 15. They're super talented.
Good coach.
Great coach. Coach Flan's a great coach, but again, we should have won the game, but it just wasn't our day. But I think at the same time, that's the fire that's burning inside of us this year. We don't want to feel that same way. You know, the coaches bring that up every now and then. It's not a great thing to think about all the time, but at the same time, it reminds us, like, we don't want to be there. We want to be, you know, a few games deeper. We want to be in the Final Four. That's where we want to be, and we know it's hard to get there. We know a lot of things are going to have to fall our way, but that's our goal, and we're not afraid to say that.
Yeah, I've talked about this with Coach Bluter. I've talked about it with Monica Sonano, and I've got to talk about it with you. the community. Well, you can just see the family that you have here at Iowa. And Coach Bluter said it best to me. She said, Dave, a lot of people talk family, and I'm not knocking anybody, but she said it really is here. And it's palpable to be around you folks, and even at games when you're at each other, because it's competitive and she's coaching you guys and you're getting on each other as teammates, but it's for the common good and goal. But wow, to see the connection you have between each other and your fans, it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially, I went through the recruiting process. I visited a lot of places. I talked to a lot of coaches. I really understood what was a true family. You could tell which coaches really cared about their players and were going to care after they left their program, and were young females working in the real world. So I think that was super important for me, and Coach Bluter is really something that cares about that. She cares about us as people more than we are basketball players, and we're pretty good basketball players on top of that.
Not too shabby, yeah.
And she's a pretty good basketball coach on top of that,
You
too.
darn
but
right.
I think at the same time, the way this community supports women's basketball is unreal. I don't think people understand that. It's not like that everywhere. And I've been to a lot of arenas, watched a lot of women's basketball games. The way these fans, first of all, come, and second of all, cheer, is unreal. This place gets so loud. If you haven't experienced it, I really recommend you come.
You got to give it to us one more time.
I know. You got to come.
There it is, right there.
Get it loud with us. But we have a lot of really good Big Ten games coming up. I know we'll have great crowds. We haven't had the curtains down all year just because we have so many season ticket holders that are so excited about women's basketball, and it's just so cool to think that we're a part of that. We're helping create that, and we're the team that gets to do that. So we take a lot of pride in that. We hope we give them a lot to cheer about, and we want to make it exciting for them.
It's so cool, and you don't know this, but you'll see it later, but Coach talked about you giving your shoes in Nebraska when the little girl asked for your shoelaces. So, folks, there are so many more stories like that. And Caitlin, let's run to our last break, and then I want to get into where you are now and where, boy, the world truly is your oyster. So let's get into that. It's just such great stuff. She is Caitlin Clark, all everything as I've dubbed her now, and we're just going to go with that. Award-winning, whatever you want to say, but all everything Caitlin Clark at University of Iowa Women's Basketball. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeyed. We'll be back with more to close out the show in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. I want to let you know our family's getting big, really big. We're now offering Chevrolet's medium-duty truck lineup. Whether it's a 4500 with the custom flatbed or a 6500 with the dump body, Chevrolet has the truck we can upfit to meet your needs. So stop in and let us show you what it means to be part of the larger Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seat company that's chasing technology, or a seat company that's writing a book on it? Merschman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. There she is, Caitlin Clark, all everything, University of Iowa Women's Basketball. We're just going, that's your new middle name, by the way, all everything. Is that okay with you? We're working on changing that, by the way. The Big Ten Player of the Week honor is going to become the Caitlin and Clark soon if I have anything to say about it. It's going to be happening. I mean, you're doing it anyway. So let's talk about your life, your future, where you're at. I mean, I'll say it. You're too humble to say it. You're an icon. I mean, this transcends sports. It transcends women's sports. Talk about that a little bit about, again, I don't want to blow you away, but that's a lot of responsibility and a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's cool. And obviously when I first committed here, NIL wasn't a thing. I didn't really know anything about it. I kind of became aware of it.
You're learning on the fly.
Exactly. I think, I'm learning on the fly. I kind of became aware of it through my freshman year. That's when it kind of became a thing. Then my summer after my freshman year, that's when it really went into effect. And, I have a lot of people that help me. My family helps me a lot. And it's good to have good people around you to help balance that. But I think looking back, if you would have told me about all this before I got here, I would have been like, oh, you're lying. Like, none of that's true. Like, I would have never believed it. But yeah, obviously, Nike, Hy-Vee, some two pretty big names, and obviously Hy-Vee's worked with a ton of athletes. Nike has some of the best athletes in the world that I've looked up to.
I think I've heard of that Jordan kid. I hope it works out well for him, right?
Serena Williams, probably my favorite athlete of all time.
Yep. What about Serena?
Oh, man, I just love her. I think the thing about her is the way she carries herself off the court. Okay. She's a mom at the same time. She's playing tennis. Yep. So it's been obviously, her career is done now, but it was so fun to watch her. I remember I would wake up early to watch her, whether she was in the Australian Open or Wimbledon or things like that. Yep. Like, I just loved it. I tried tennis back in the day. It didn't go too hot for me.
I was going to ask, has it only been basketball, always basketball?
I tried a lot of things because I was so competitive, but obviously the new landscape of college athletics is, it's an interesting dynamic, and I think a lot of us are learning on the fly because, there's just so many questions, not a lot of answers, and it's so new. People are just learning about it, but I think it's, a right student athletes should have had for a really long time.
Absolutely.
So it's cool to see what people are doing with it. People are being passionate in certain areas of, things that they've loved for a really long time, whether that's, they have their own clothing line that they're making and selling, or, they're passionate about a certain coffee shop in town and they're endorsing that. So I think it's been cool to watch everybody kind of make it their own and do what they want with it.
I think also you go to college to learn, right?
Yeah.
So you're learning marketing and branding and the naysayers, and I've done sports talk radio for years, and I was talking about paying athletes stipends even in the late 90s, early 2000s, and, oh, Dave, it's a sacrilege, you can't do that. And you learn this on the fly. You came as a freshman, and then overnight, boom, here comes NIL. But what I love about this, again, and I don't want to put too much on you, but you're really part of a groundbreaking, transcending time right now, transformational for sure in college sports, but especially women's college sports. So take us into that. What's it like? Does Nike go, knock on the door and say, "Hey, Kaylin, we may have something"? But how'd that all transpire?
Yeah, I think Nike came to me and wanted to help me be one of the first women's college basketball players. They have 2 other ones in high school.
And congratulations, by the way, that's huge.
One's at Stanford, who I know fairly well, was her teammate on USA Basketball. One, so I know her fairly well. Obviously, one of the best players in the country too. But yeah, obviously super, super cool and, kind of shell-shocked in a way when it happens. But yeah, I think, obviously you come here and you're just, when I first came here, I just thought school and basketball, but now you're adding this other element of NIL, which is basically like you're running your own business now. And obviously I'm in the business school, so I'm like doing that at the same time. I'm like, this should count as my internship hours, guys. Come on, mark this down as dual credit.
We're going to change everything for you, Caitlin. We're going to change the award names. We're going to do this, okay.
But no, I think, obviously I'm in the Tippy School of Business, so it's been kind of cool. I'm majoring in marketing, which is like basically what I'm doing outside of basketball and school. So learning that on the fly, kind of getting real world experience, a lot of things kids don't really get at my age, and obviously I have a lot of people that help me and guide me, and it's been a cool thing to experience.
I jokingly say we'll change everything for you, but truly that's what I mean by transformational. You're at one of the best business schools in the country, and you take a look at that. And is that what you want to do with your life? Do you're in business? What kind of, I know it's way too early to tell you, still got 2 years of school left, or eligibility. I won't get you in trouble. I'm going to ask you. Do you come back for that 5th year, or is that just too early to tell right now?
I think it's too early to tell. Obviously, I feel like
because you've got this year and another year, and you could go a 5th year.
Yeah, I could go a 5th year, obviously, because I have my COVID year. I think that's probably not a decision I'll make until, honestly, maybe halfway through next year.
I had to ask.
Yeah, a lot of people love to ask.
Yep.
I'll have a lot to consider next year, obviously, with the draft and things like that, and what's best for me. But I think there's just a lot of cool opportunities I've had since being here, and I didn't really know what I was going to major in when I first came here. I thought business at first, and I was like, oh, should I do something else? So I'm getting my degree in marketing in the business school. I'm getting a minor in communications, but a lot of people tell me I should be in sports broadcasting, but I think
you should definitely.
I think I will probably do that at some point in my life, but obviously I want to have a long pro career and do that for a while. I thought about coaching for a little bit. I don't know if that's really my calling. I love sports, but I think I'm more just being around the game. I think, working in the front office of a professional sports organization would be really, really cool. And that obviously uses my business background, but also the sports background as well. So I think there's a lot of different ways you can go.
Right.
And I understand that I'm going to need my degree after my professional career is over. So I still got a lot of playing to do, which is super exciting. But I think even the real world after that could be super fun and cool in sports as well.
When I say transitional and transformational, KD, Kevin Durant, all the NBA guys, I mean, you're getting their attention. So again, when you're called the best player in college basketball, male or female, and you got the NBA guys shouting you out with logo threes, and you got to sit back and say, hey, I must be doing something A-okay. But that's interesting to see guys at all levels, at all sports, men and women, saying, hey, shout out to Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeye women. How cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say it was cool, and it's pretty, surreal. Those are the players I've watched on TV growing up, some of the best that I've ever picked up at basketball. So, it's pretty special having WNBA players, NBA players talk about your game and really watch and tune in. So I think, that's super cool. And, that's not the reason you play, but
Right.
it definitely is super cool when they're watching and supporting women's basketball the way they do, especially at the college level. And you get a little shell-shocked for a second, but more than anything, you just do it because you love it. And that's the reason I play, because it's so much fun to me. I get to show who I am. I got to be passionate. I got to have fun. And, that's why I keep stepping on the court every single day and doing it.
Love it. And Caitlin, I knew this would happen. We're running out of time, and I didn't want to get greedy with your time, but I'll make the same offer to you and that I did to Monica and Coach Bluter. We got to talk to you after the year if it works for you.
Let's do it. I'm in.
I am too.
I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and I greatly appreciate it. She is Caitlin Clark, all-everything University of Iowa women's basketball player, and basically just transcending the sports landscape. Thank you, Caitlin.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. For Caitlin Clark, I'm Dave O'Hara, and again, you heard me mention Coach Bluter and also Monica Sonato, my production partner Michael Merrick, and also our buddy Bailey Turner for arranging all these interviews, SID with Iowa women's basketball right here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. So for the aforementioned folks, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. That's all from me. Thanks to all of you.
And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.